Greetings and welcome, everyone. My name is Anne, and we are going live today. If this is your first time, again, my name is Anne with Utique Bridal and Lifestyle. I specialize in do-it-yourself veils and lifestyle designs, and I go live every Friday. And the last Friday of the month, I have a special guest that comes on and joins me, which right now we have Sandra. So I am going to invite her on. Hello. All right. It says waiting for the majestic wedding. So we have a special guest today, Sandra Pham with the Majestic Wedding. Hello, Roz. Welcome. So it's going to be a lot of great information. She is a wedding planner, and she is going to kind of give us, here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Sandra. It has been a long time.
It has.
It has. Okay. Thank you for joining me today. Everybody, and this is Sandra Pham with the Majestic Wedding. She is a wedding planner. And I just wanted her to come on because I thought about her, and I knew of several brides just going through this time of trying to plan through a pandemic. And I've had, friends in the past that had tried to plan an event and things got canceled. Vendors had to cancel because of this whole pandemic thing. And I was thinking, because the last time I saw you, Sandra, was during Hurricane Harvey.
Yes. That was what, 2017?
Yeah,
I think?
2017. But before we get into the Hurricane Harvey one, I met you when you were a young teenager, probably in the early 2000s, back in the days when I was volunteering at the church. So that's how we crossed paths.
Yes.
I remembered you being a very quiet and just a cute, quiet little girl. But then later on in the years, I heard that you became a wedding planner. I was like, wow, the quiet little girl blossomed and flourished. So I'm excited for what you're doing now. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Thank you for joining, everybody. But yes, so Sandra, I thought of Sandra because in my mind, the last time I saw her was during Hurricane Harvey. I was helping Linda, the bride at that time, do some, quick, some emergency alterations and did a custom veil. And Sandra was the wedding planner for that wedding, who happens to be your sister as well.
Yes.
And I remember, all these shops closing down on Linda, and the bridal salon that she had.
Yeah, we came back from her bachelorette party in California. We were stuck there for a few days. Not all flights were canceled into Houston, so we ended up flying to Austin and then driving home to Houston. And so she made everything into one short trip. Her bachelorette, picking up her wedding dress, and then flying back to Hawaii to have her wedding. So
I know that's why in my head I consider you the emergency response wedding planner. You will, if you can get a bride through the Hurricane Harvey, you can get a bride through anything. So yes, I am very blessed to have you on today. Thank you, Sandra, for coming. Tell us a little bit about you, your background, your family. What do you like to do and enjoy besides wedding planning?
Besides wedding planning, I mean, I've always enjoyed planning parties and everything growing up as a kid. My mom, my family, a lot of us are in the creative industry. A lot of us own businesses. And so growing up, I saw a lot of entrepreneurs in my family starting up their own businesses. My dad, in the Vietnam War, he wrote poetry, and then some of his work got published. To this day, he still writes it just for fun. My mom, was a banker, but on the side, she did flower arrangements just for fun as well as a hobby, And so seeing all these family members in the creative industry and starting their own businesses, coming to America, we sacrifice a lot for us coming here to, live out this American dream, wanting the best to provide for their family. So seeing all my aunts and uncles, my cousins working so hard day in, day out to build their businesses. And to this day, I have a lot of family members in the creative industry. You know, I have a cousin in New York who started her own nail polish line, another cousin in California with a baking company, other family members with marketing and design firms, furniture stores, beauty salons, you know. So growing up, I was surrounded by a lot of their influences, and then that also motivated me to work hard and get to where I am today. Um,
So
so
that's very natural that you
yeah,
would
you
start
know,
a business, right? Which is the wedding planning business.
yeah.
So, okay, that sounds like you were just meant to start your own.
Yeah, so I mean, growing up, our family was,
Uh,
you know, I would help my mom plan dinner parties and making our own DIY centerpieces, putting out the linens, coming up with menus. So it was a lot of fun. And then throughout the years, I would help family members plan birthday parties, showers, bridal showers, any type of, you know, gathering events. And that's how I got started. And then after college, I graduated with a degree in business. And then I started, after graduation, I landed my first job at a restaurant interior design firm, you know, which was pretty cool for, you know, a first job coming out of college.
yeah.
You're starting at this restaurant interior design firm, and then but it was just an entry level position. I wasn't, you know, satisfied with where I was. It was fun, it was a lot of fun and everything, but you know, I wasn't happy with where I was. So a few years later, and a few jobs after, I decided, hey, you know, I enjoy doing what I did for family and friends and helping people, you know, create this special day for them. And then I was like, hey, why not start looking for a wedding planner job, maybe in the Houston area or somewhere nearby. Let's see if there's anything that comes up, you know. So, you know, it wouldn't hurt to try. So then I was looking for jobs online, and then I saw a posting for a event coordinator at a venue nearby, close to home. So I was like, hey, this is perfect, you know, why not give it a shot? So I ended up applying, and then submitting my resume, and then I got a call for an interview to come back. For a few days later, I got a call for an interview to come in. And then so I came in, did an interview, and then ended up getting the job on the spot and started the following Monday. Okay, so here I am,
Yeah.
no professional experience, just kind of like a hobby, doing it for friends. So I really had no clue what to do. I mean, I've always do what I was doing correct, you know. So here I am working at this venue. I was like, great, I have my foot in the wedding industry door.
Ago was How long ago was this when you started?
This was probably about, I would say 7-8 years ago. Yeah. So I started this, and then fast forward 5 years later, I'm still at this venue.
So
And
Fabric says it was your calling.
yeah.
Welcome everyone that just joined. Welcome. I have a wedding planner at the Majestic Wedding on today. She's sharing, she's telling us a little bit about her wedding planning journey. And then we're going to get to some meaty stuff soon. But yes, I just want to learn more about her, how she got into wedding planning. And so what is a wedding planner, and what exactly do they do? Because so many, it's like y'all work with this big piece of puzzle.
Yes. So I would say that we're like your stage managers when it comes to, and your wedding is a production, basically. So, I mean, there are different types of wedding planners out there, and I'll kind of go over the main types that a lot of you guys are here from. So wedding planners and wedding coordinators. So those are your two main wedding type of planners. And they are all about the logistics of your wedding. So there are different types of wedding planners. A lot of you guys hear of your month of day of coordinator. So those are for the types of planners that, for the couples who are pretty active in planning their wedding, they already know what they want. They're pretty detail oriented. They're organized, but they just need that extra help on their wedding day to kind of have somebody there to execute whatever they had planned. So wedding coordinators, usually we begin about 4 to 6 weeks prior to your wedding day, and then we sit down with you to create a wedding timeline, going over your floor plan, and helping you with any last minute detail that you might have forgotten.
Yeah. DJ, I hope I'm saying this. DJ MQ says, "Yee, go Sandra."
DJ MQ, yes. Hi, Martin.
He's
actually one of our DJs.
Oh, well, welcome. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll make sure to kind of insert them in as I'm asking Sandra other questions. I personally had a wedding planner, and I'm so grateful for my wedding planner, Tracy, if she's ever watching this. It's so long ago, she's no longer a wedding planner. But she actually, you guys know the details that sometimes we even overlook. So you mentioned, what services do you provide besides, putting this production together? What other services?
So we provide wedding planning services. We offer a few different types of wedding planning packages. First, we offer your full service wedding planners, which is pretty much everything from A to Z that has to do with a wedding, from finding the correct vendors for you, negotiating your contracts for you, walking through all your vendor meetings, from cake tasting, menu tasting, site visits, and then helping determining a budget, a realistic budget. It's so important to have a realistic budget. A lot of Pinterest people on Pinterest, a lot of brides go on Pinterest and looking for images like, hey, I want this for my wedding, not knowing how much it actually costs. So we're there to help you kind of stay within the budget and tell you, what's realistic and what's not realistic for your wedding. So we provide full service wedding planning, and then our partial wedding planning, which is a little bit of both. We also which includes your day of coordination, but also help a few months prior to that. So
you're basically holding our hand, holding the bride's hand, and walking bride and grooms to walk them through the whole process.
Yes.
How do you find vendors for them? I mean, you know how different vendors may fit the bride and groom.
Yeah, so we would like to, so when we meet with you at your initial consultation, we'll kind of get a feel of what the type of style that you're looking for and the budget that you're working with. So we'll kind of narrow you down. We'll pick a few vendors for you and show them, you contact them, getting quotes, and for you to stay within the budget. And then from there, see if you like any of those vendors instead of overwhelming you with so many other vendors. We'll pick a vendor that is a photographer, let's say, or a decorator that's within the style, the budget that you want. And then we'll reach out to them, get contracts, and answer any questions that you may have. And then from there, if you're still not comfortable, you're still not really feeling them, then we'll continue doing more research for you. So it's good to have a lot of vendors in the back of your hand.
Yeah. And so there is like a Rolodex of all these vendors that you kind of follow through, right, for the bride and groom, and narrow it down, help them narrow it down to the vendors that fit them. So
yes, to the ones to fit your style and your needs.
Yes. So that was the next question I was going to ask. So that kind of answered it. Why hire a wedding planner? And I think that's, it is overwhelming with all the vendors out there, the choices available. Mm-hmm. And, going on the internet, there's so much to research, and trying to narrow it down is hard, or going to the bridal shows can be overwhelming, or going to the bridal shows. And me being one of the vendors, there's just so many vendors, you can get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I know. I remember I went as a bridal show as I was just a bridesmaid for my friend, 10 years ago. And just me being a bridesmaid, I was feeling overwhelmed at the bridals.
So that's why hire a wedding planner if you can. And if you're concerned about budget, just contact a wedding planner, right? First, and see how they can help you with the budget as well. Or if they're
help you with the budget, will help you have the least possible amount of stress. Will be your mediators between your fiance, your mom, or your in-laws, or whatever, to kind of compromise between you guys, to kind of find out a solution where both of you guys are compromised and are happy.
Okay. So the next question is, what are some of the most challenging parts of planning a wedding, and how do you overcome it?
Actually, I want to go back to the question, why hire wedding
Oh,
planners? Okay. I know a lot of couples out there, I hear it all the time that they say that they'll have their family members or their friends be their coordinator for them on the wedding day. And I highly suggest you don't do this. One, because why? Why do you want your friend or your bridesmaids or your moms running around, stretching their heads off, making sure their cake or the DJ shows up on time when you could, spend that extra money, spend that extra $1,000, $2,000 um, to have at least a day of coordinator with you on your wedding day to handle that stress for you. We will take away the stress for you. We'll be there to making sure that your DJ sets up on time, or what time you need to wake up, what time hair and makeup needs to be there, all the ins and outs that comes to the wedding day. And so I highly suggest don't put that stress on your family, your mom, your aunt, somebody that is actually a guest at your wedding. I mean, they're there for a reason. They're there to celebrate you. So have them there fully there to celebrate with you. It's one of the most important days of your lives. So you want them to be there to actually enjoy the moment with you. So.
yeah. Grace for me says, yes, agree. My sister was my coordinator. So she agrees with you. There's just so much stress that can be in this scene.
Yes.
So much fabric says stress-free event. Yes,
Yes.
family and friends want a stress-free event, right?
Yes.
So
And then another reason why I say that I hear a lot of the time is a lot of couples say, hey, I don't need a wedding planner because my venue already provides me with a venue coordinator. And what they don't really understand, because I used to be a venue coordinator, and a lot of the times what couples don't understand is that a venue coordinator doesn't work for you. They work for their venue. So they're there to handle everything related to the venue. They're making sure that none of your guests are breaking tables and chairs and getting drunk and setting their place on fire, They're there to open the doors for all your vendors to load in, load out. They are there to set up tables and chairs for you, turn on the ACs. And then a lot of venues provide in-house catering. So if they do that, then, the venue coordinators are responsible for their kitchen staff, making sure, food is prepped on time. Their bartenders, all the alcohol and liquor is there, their wait staff, a lot of venue coordinators will, they'll be glad to put out all the small basic logistics of, your table numbers and your seating charts and whatever. A
a
lot
lot of behind the scenes stuff.
a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that you don't really necessarily see. So I mean, I praise them. Venue coordinators, they have been a big help for me throughout the years. And I myself, as a venue coordinator, we did a lot of the behind the scenes that nobody actually knew what they actually did. So
Maria Weird One, I hope I'm saying it. Is it Maria Weirden or Maria Weird One? Our wedding was stress-free and moved so smoothly because we had a wedding coordinator. Good. Yes, they are so helpful.
Yes. So back to venue coordinators, they are there for the logistics. They know what works in their space. They will help you with the floor plans, because they will know, where every single outlet is in case your DJ needs help plugging in their equipment or something. But as for wedding planners, we might not necessarily know where the outlets are, but we are responsible to make sure your DJ shows up on time and plays the correct song at the right time, and all the small little details that happens prior to you even arriving at the venue, like making sure hair and makeup shows up on time, who is picking up lunch for your bridal party, making sure you and your partner, husband, or soon-to-be husband or fiance is fed and hydrated throughout the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that covers, you guys do a lot behind the scenes. So what are some of the challenging parts of planning a wedding and how do you overcome that?
Let me see. So some of the challenges as a wedding planner is acting and learning different roles of other wedding industry professionals. We need to learn the ins and outs of, how to bustle a dress. We need to be seamstress. I probably need a few lessons from you on how
I'll
to
be happy
bustle
to.
it. I mean, I've done my fair share of bustling dresses, but we're seamstress. We have emergency sewing kits on hand ready to go in case, somebody rips their pants on their dance floor or somebody spills wine on their dress. We need to know all the ins and outs of all the other wedding industries, such as, let me see, what is it? Florists. I know. We had a couple did a lot of the DIY stuff. She ended up ordering flowers from a wholesaler, and then she was pretty DIY, hands-on, pretty crafty herself. But then she ended up ordering flowers from a wholesaler and doing all the centerpieces and arrangements herself. So then we opened up the venue for her a day prior to the event, and then we said, hey, go ahead, start setting up your flower arrangements. We'll leave the AC on overnight so the flowers don't die. And then, I gave her this, we had opened up the doors for her, gave her the privilege of coming in early. Usually we don't provide, usually a lot of venues don't let you come in.
This is when you were
a venue coordinator, yeah.
Yes.
And
so you weren't the wedding planner at that time.
I wasn't the wedding planner yet, but it was a learning lesson for me now. That so she ended up so they were supposed to come in that night to put together flower arrangements and everything, and I'm like sitting, I had another event to attend to that night, but then would check in and be like, hey, are they here yet? Are they setting up the flower arrangements? Do you need any help? But then they never showed up that night, and then I have a room full of flowers in buckets.
Don't tell me you ended up being the florist.
Yes, I ended up being the florist.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
I know. I was like, this is not part of my description, but I know the next morning the bride and the family members, the bridesmaids will have no time.
Yeah.
I mean, I waited till the next morning to come back, making sure, maybe somebody came in the morning to set the flowers, but it's a few hours before their wedding day. I know they're getting married at a church, and so nobody should be arriving at the venue for the reception until a few hours from now. So it's lunchtime, and I still have a room full of flowers. And then as panicked, I don't know how the bride and groom felt, but I was panicked for them. And so I ended up eventually, after the church, people started trickling in to help, and she didn't have a day of coordinator, she didn't have a wedding planner or anything, so I pretty much stepped up to be her day of coordinator. I mean, it wasn't in my job description to at the venue to be, but I just couldn't do it. Sometimes as wedding planner, you have to go above and beyond your job description to make sure that their wedding is fulfilled and it's special, and they will appreciate you at the end of the day.
Yeah. So what is your favorite part of wedding planning? What's the favorite part now that you have, with all those years of experience now that you have your own company, what is your favorite part of wedding planning?
Let's see. One of my favorite parts is probably the review. Pretty much the moment of calmness before the show starts. So like when the reaction of the bride and groom when they see their venue for their first time, that all these months and years and their vision of planning has come to life, and they work so hard to bring it to life. Yeah.
It's alive. DJ MQ says the smallest details add up. They sure do. They sure do. Welcome everyone that just joined us. I have Sandra Pham. She's a wedding planner with the Majestic Wedding on, and we're talking about wedding planning. And at this point, we are really at the juicy part, I think. How did the pandemic affect the brides, the grooms, and the wedding industry? It affected me personally.
Yes. I mean, I'm pretty sure it affected a lot of people, not just any in the wedding industry, just in every industry.
Right. Every industry.
But specific for the wedding industry, we suffered a lot. You know, it was hit pretty bad. I mean, our job is based on having the need for people to gather, to assemble, to celebrate these momentous occasions, birthdays, baby showers, weddings, you know, anniversaries, retirement parties, you know, you name it. 2020 was the year for party. I mean, everybody wanted that 2020 wedding date. All the holidays fell on the weekend, you know, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's, Christmas, New Year's, Halloween. Everybody chose those specific dates for a reason, because they wanted the whole weekend to celebrate with their friends and families and loved ones for that whole weekend. There was a lot of popular wedding dates, you know, 2/22/2020 was a hot date. 10/10/2020 was a hot date. You know, everybody was fighting for these dates, you know, and then here we are, this COVID-19 ruins it for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of, you know, brides and grooms that had, you know, vendors that had to cancel because, you know, the business had to shut down because of all that.
It's very unfortunate. A lot of business has to close just because a lot of these brides and grooms are canceling, they're postponing their weddings. Some are postponing it to later this year, some to 2022. Some have just decided to elope and completely cancel everything, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of, so instead of gathering in large parties and celebrating, a lot of couples are spending their time at home quarantining, you know, with their closest friends and families. And, and then that's when they realize it's not about the flowers and the decor and the alcohol and the music anymore. It's about why you're getting married, why they're committed to each other, why did they decide to get married in the first place, you know? So they're spending their time and they're kind of reprioritizing what's important to them.
Right.
And so instead of focusing on, go ahead. And so a lot of the times,
whereas a refocus, it was a time of shift where it got back to family, you know, the closest family, the closest friends, and like you said, reprioritizing the most important things.
So instead of caring about what flowers to have or the type of food they're worrying about how to safely celebrate with their friends and loved ones, and are now at the top of their priority. What it has become the essentials, you know, a lot of couples now will not focus on necessarily what is in the room, but who is in the room.
Yeah. I mean, I've known brides and grooms that had, you know, because you've organized lavish weddings, and, you know, you've had to organize for 500 to 600 people, and now you're seeing smaller weddings scaled back.
Yeah, so we caught like a lot of our more micro weddings, you know, which are small weddings of, you know, 20, 40 people, less than 50 guests. A lot of these weddings are, you know, in the backyard of somebody's house, in their driveway. I mean, we as wedding planners, no, this is new for us, you know, we don't know what to do. So a lot of us has to get together to come up with a plan I mean, this is the time where we are the most creative. We've never been more creative than ever before, you know. We have seen weddings and elopements in backyards, in their living rooms, in their balcony.
Right, the drive-by wedding. I saw a drive-by.
Yeah, the drive-by baby shower, the drive-by wedding showers. We have seen couples get married on balconies in front of their driveway, you know.
I love the creativity that this actually brought about. Like you said, a refocus, a shift into the focus on their love and their union, and got creative and made it something special for them that was fitting for the couple.
Yeah. So now with all these small celebrations, couples are able to dream bigger. I mean, they get to splurge a little bit more. So they get to get married in the venue they've always wanted to with a smaller amount of people. They get to splurge on maybe a more elevated menu, a higher alcohol bar, a tier bar, or more lavish decor and flowers and everything. So, and then for the ones that did postpone, they get time to save more money and then to splurge on those items, in the long run later on. So a lot of couples who decide to get married now, they're either, they don't care. They want to get married now and, start the lives ahead of them. And and then there are still those couples who still want the big celebration. So a lot of times is what we call a split wedding, kind of like a two-part wedding. So they'll still keep their date now, do the civil ceremony, the church ceremony or whatever, and then have like a small gathering with just their immediate family members with 10, 20 people in their backyard or something. And then for their 1 year anniversary, hopefully everything is back to some kind of sense of normal later this year or next year, and then they'll have their big 1 year celebration, then with all the 300, 400, 500 guests that they originally wanted to invite.
Yeah, and if 1 year later we're still in this.
Yes, we are pretty much.
Yeah, I know.
1 year later in, and we're still doing.
Don't ever, brides and grooms, don't ever think that's just because you can't have your big wedding now doesn't mean you can't have it on your 5-year anniversary or your 10-year anniversary, later in the date. So
just values,
Yeah. Okay. So this when I posted about handling, excuse me, wedding planning stress, this was shared. So, what are your tips for handling wedding planning stress? Sounds like a really good question.
So, just to point out a few tips. One, I would say to prioritize. I would sit down with your partner in the beginning to prioritize, what is it that is on your must-have list? What is it that's most important to you on the wedding day? Is it good music, or is it good food, or is it just,
For our audience, for our audience, if you guys have tips on how to plan, how to de-stress your wedding planning, please list them down below. So you can add on to Sandra too.
There's probably so many other things I can't think of at the top of my head, but these are just a few things is to prioritize. Sit down with your partner at the beginning, so that way you create a must-have list to make sure. So that way, you have those key pieces that, that's most important to you. So down the line, when you're planning the rest of your wedding planning, go back to that list, go back to that initial list and try to keep track. Be like, hey, do I really need, the $20,000 flower hanging on my ceiling? Or was it, I just wanted good food and music for my guests to enjoy, So kind of going back to prioritizing what's important to you, and keeping that in the back of your mind when you plan your wedding, and it will help you stay within your budget as well. Another thing to help de-stress you is to communicate early on, especially with your parents, your in-laws, especially if they're helping you pay for part of the wedding. Communicate with your parents. I know a lot of times couples have butted heads with their in-laws or their parents because they wanted their wedding a certain way, and then the bride and groom wanted their weddings a certain way. So communicate at the beginning, sit down with your parents and talk to them. Hey, this is what I envision for my wedding day to be like, and then hear out what they want for their wedding day, and then what's important to them, and find a compromise so that both of you guys are happy in the end.
Great tips.
And then some other tips.
tips, feel free to share it down below. If you guys have some tips, if you guys already experienced a wedding or you're in the wedding industry, I am Tang says be organized but flexible. Oh, that's a good one. Yes.
Be organized and flexible.
Yeah, I like that one too. That's a great one. Thank you for sharing that. All right.
And
Yep.
then always have a plan B.
Yeah.
You know, as wedding planners, we always have a plan B, C, and a D, but always have a plan B in case if you know there are things that are out of your control. You know, sometimes things might not have go according to plan. There might be worst case scenarios where you don't know what to do, but your wedding planner is there to help you in case there are those wedding worst case scenarios that happen. You know, we're there to stay calm, to you know find solutions right there for you, and to kind of
MQ said hire Sandra as your planner coordinator. Good tip. Thank you.
yeah, that's a great tip.
That's what I notice about wedding planners are that they are very calm and collective, you know, and you're guaranteed on your wedding day something is not going to go as planned.
Yes, we're guaranteed. We could spend thousands of hours planning every single little detail, but there's always going to be something that went wrong. And a lot of times, brides and grooms don't even knew what happened behind the scenes. We never tell them what happens, you know?
Yep. They'll never know. Okay. So this next one's my favorite. Wedding trends for 2021. What are the wedding trends this year?
2021. So we've been getting a lot of questions about, you know, what will weddings look like in this year ahead, you know, and to be honest, as wedding planners, we really don't know. But some of the trends that we've seen that are done in 2020 and that we think a lot of couples will keep in the near future and will probably be here from here on out would probably be a lot of micro weddings. You know, people are more focused again on the love and the commitment and what wedding actually means instead of all of the glamorous flowers and decor and everything and the design. So micro weddings, I think, will be big trends for this year. I mean, it's been for 2020 as well, but that and a lot of outdoor and backyard weddings.
A lot of intimate weddings.
Intimate weddings, yes. So, and then a lot of what we'll see a lot of is a lot of weekday weddings. So weekday weddings. So now that a lot of these 2020 weddings are pushed back to 2021, you know, we are very limited on how many Saturdays there are, and we have couples that were planning their 2020 weddings. Now we have newly engaged brides for the 2021-2022 seasons that are trying to find venues and vendors for the same date. So I would say be open. We've been getting a lot of calls for weddings for the weekdays on Thursdays, Sundays, even Fridays instead of Saturdays anymore. So, you know, a lot of the time some venues even are a little bit cheaper and will give you a discount for a weekday wedding.
Very true. So yes, to be flexible. Another tip for bride and grooms, be flexible and be creative.
Yes, be flexible. And again, another trend would be these two-part weddings. We have your sequel weddings, the ceremony and the civil ceremony, church weddings, whatever it is now, and then the big celebration a year later.
Yeah.
And then some other trends I would say would be a lot of people are changing a lot of their dinner menu. So instead of buffet styles where it's, you know, self-serve style dinners, it's more a formal dinner service. Or if it is buffet, then they will have wait staff that will, you know, have a barrier between the food and the guests, and guests are still have to go up, put on their mask, go to the buffet line, and then wait staff will dish out the actual food for them instead of having a self-serve station. So people are, you know, family style. A lot of Asian weddings, family style dinner menus is well known for Asian weddings. So that, you know, has been cut out a lot. So it's more focused on plated dinner service. And then small, instead of charcuterie boards, everything is in cones or small little cups or glassware or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's getting very creative. Very.
Yeah. And then a lot of one of the things that actually picked up a lot was on technology in 2020 was live stream. So live stream is pretty much what we're doing now. We're streaming a live event. So we have photographers and videographers that have come up with these live stream packages where they'll send a person to live stream and document your wedding day. So whether it be via Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, whatever it is, your guests from that, instead of having, you know, the 400 or 500 people you originally wanted, those guests can now tune in with you live and still be there to enjoy the moment with you.
So Much Fabric asks, what are the popular colors that's trending in the wedding industry?
Ooh, popular colors. I would say a lot of whites and neutrals actually are pretty gone. I know for menswear now, a lot of people are adding color into their suits and ties. Instead of going for the classic black, people are opting for maroons or blues, and it's more colorful this year, which is what we need.
That is so interesting. So more color, huh? So you're seeing more maroon now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Feel free to, if you our special for all our special guests on, feel free to ask her any questions while I have her on. So I guess we're gonna if they want to hire you, Sandra, how can they contact you and get pricing?
Let's see. So all of our contact is, you can find it on here. You could contact us directly. You could DM me a private message. Our contact is on our wedding website, themajesticwedding.com. You could contact us by phone or email or through Facebook or Instagram messages. And then we don't really have a set pricing. We kind of customize each and the client's needs. So we would like to get a feel of what you need before we give you an actual quote.
So is it, like when they contact you, is there a free consultation initially?
Yeah, so free consultation. We'll sit down with you either in person if you're comfortable with it, or through FaceTime, through phone, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. And then we'll kind of get a feel of what is it that you're needing help with for your wedding day, and then we'll put together a customized package for you that would meet your needs and stay within your budget.
I'm gonna put all her contact information as well in the description below, so so we'll make sure if you want to contact Sandra that all her contact information is there for you. Yeah. What are some recommended, this just kind of popped in my head, what are some recommended sites that you recommend brides to go to for inspiration? Are there certain sites?
I mean, there are tons of sites out there. I mean, there's the two popular ones is theknot.com and weddingwire.com. I mean, those are the two probably popular platforms, and from there you could get tips and templates on how to plan your wedding and to create your wedding registry, your wedding website. Free wedding websites, actually.
Yeah, I noticed when you said earlier that it's moving towards more digital. A lot of invitations now seems to be digital through.
So a lot of people are
the invitation is through
Evite instead of spending money on postage and paper, and people are being more sustainable and more eco-friendly.
Yeah, which is great. Something to consider. All right.
I do have one more other thing to actually point out, and it's actually one of the challenges as that couples and wedding planners face is to staying on budget, So staying on budget, let me see where it is.
I think that's a really big one for couples. It's hard, especially like you mentioned earlier with the Pinterest, inspiration boards.
Pinterest, inspiration boards. You see all these images on social media.
Yeah.
We have a couple, you might have a $40,000 wedding, budget, but then you showed me a picture of this flower arch that you saw on Pinterest, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's a $10,000-$20,000 budget just for flowers alone.
Our art
How are you gonna feed
that
people?
that you were part of, like all the posting I posted your portfolio leading up to this, and I was like, wow, those are just breathtaking.
Yeah.
Beautiful work by your team, by the way. Just want to say those are beautiful, beautiful work.
Yeah, so I would say
I didn't get to share some of the other photos leading up till today, but let me do that real quick. So this is just some of Sandra's other work that she helped plan and coordinate. So more beautiful work, a lot of beautiful details, like I believe DJ MQ said earlier, details important. So just want to share some more of her beautiful work right there. Just a lot. It's opulent, Sandra.
This was actually the two bottom ones was actually one of my first weddings that I planned when I actually ventured off and started my own company.
Oh, so the bottom two, the first, that's amazing for your first projects.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Burden says, beautiful, so beautiful, isn't it? It's gorgeous, it's gorgeous. Just beautiful work. Okay. Okay. Yes, if you guys have questions, feel free to leave it below. William Quatch, Sandra is amazing. Oh,
thanks, William.
Sweet.
Oh, I also have back to budgeting.
Yeah.
I actually have more key points. A lot of brides, when I say, I would say be open to other suggestions. You hire your wedding planners or your wedding florists to be your eyes and ears to help you stay within your budget. So I would say be open to their suggestions. Maybe tell them this is your budget for flowers or decor or whatever, and they'll help you still recreate the image that you want, but still stay within the budget. Maybe instead of opting for the 20-foot flower wall with full of fresh flowers or fresh flowers hanging from the ceiling, maybe be open to silk flowers or fake flower arrangements or different types of flowers. The flower design wedding florist industry, it's on another level. Centerpieces can cost you, $20, $30, $40, $50 for one centerpieces, or it could cost you $400 or $500 for each centerpiece. So I would say be open to what your designers and florists have to say. They're there for you. We are, everybody in the wedding industry is there to support you, to kind of help you create that special day. So be open to their suggestions. Maybe it wasn't the flower that you originally saw, but they're the creative ones. They are there to still plan out, to come up with different ideas. Maybe instead of having a specific flower that you're so set on, maybe peonies or orchids, the higher end flowers, they'll suggest having other seasonal flowers that are a little bit cheaper, that's still within the color scheme.
Ange Trans, I hope I'm saying her,
Angela.
How do you handle out-of-town weddings? That's a good one. I know you handled Linda's.
Yes. So out-of-town weddings, we would like to do at least a site visit with you, at least once, so that we could get an idea of what it is that that your reception looks like. I know we are based in Houston, Texas, but we do travel. I mean, we've done weddings in Austin, Dallas, did my sister's in Hawaii, but I mean, she was living there locally, so it was kind of help.
That made it easier.
Yeah, so it made it easier, but
now it's easy to get, a tour of the venue, venue as well, FaceTime the venues and meet different vendors through that avenue if you're planning out-of-town weddings.
So out-of-town weddings, it's easier to, so that way we'll like to fly in a few months before or drive or whatever. We would like to have a visit. Maybe now it'll be like a virtual tour because traveling is restricted or whatever. But just having a feel of what your wedding looks like, and then we will do our research with booking vendors locally for you, or reaching out to other wedding planners locally to getting their help. Oh,
that's a great one. Thank you for that question. That was a great question. DJ MQ says, can't wait to see at William Quatch's wedding. Okay, I guess that's an inside thing, huh? Okay, I do have one question. Our mutual friend Viet did have a question for you. He is our future clergy. In what ways, if any, do wedding planners interact, cooperate with the clergy? And that is the celebrants of the sacrament of matrimony. If there are interactions, what do you expect from the clergy? And what are some advice that you would give to the clergy if they were celebrating a wedding in which you were the planner? Clergy to do that could help the planner out.
Let's see. I know a lot of different place of prayer, like churches, Catholic churches, or whatnot. A lot of them already have church coordinators for their wedding, church coordinators on their end. So it's actually a lot of help for us as wedding planners, for them to kind of guide the bride and groom on what happens during a church ceremony. But what I would what also would be helpful for the church or any clergies or church coordinators would be maybe at the beginning of the celebrations, or maybe sometimes during the celebration, have the clergies give a quick overview or a lesson on what happens in a Catholic wedding, or why do they do certain things, why is flowers presented to Virgin
Mary,
to Mother Mary, what is the meaning of the Eucharist? Because a lot of the times guests that attend these weddings, they don't know what's going on, they're clueless. So I would say maybe explain the meaning behind the sacrament of matrimony and what happens during a church will be helpful to us as wedding planners and guests.
Great answer. Okay, so you guys started hearing the violin in the background. That means that was a kind of a cue that time is almost up. But I want to thank you so much, Sandra, for coming on and going live with me, and thank you everyone who joined us today. Because of you guys found a little bit of time to spend with us, we greatly appreciate it, and we wanted everybody just to hopefully learn something new. And if you can pass on this information, Sandra shared a lot of great information. I'm going to have it posted up on my YouTube as well. I'll have the breakdown, timestamps of everything, of all the questions. So, if anyone in the industry, come across or need these answers, now we have it. So again, thank you. Kat M. Huang says, woohoo, love the info. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you.
Before we conclude, I always ask my special guests if they have 1 to 3 their favorite quotes that they would share with our friends here. That's live here. What are your 1 to 3 favorite quotes? Don't have to be 3, but what are
let's see. One of
motivated.
It's actually one of the quotes I've actually heard recently was, when plan A doesn't work, don't worry, you still have 25 more letters to go through. That's probably one of the, and it works for everyday life. Sometimes what we had originally planned and envisioned didn't necessarily go through, but you get back up, you try again, and it holds true to your everyday life and within the wedding industry.
Yep, that's a good one. Yeah, because life is going to be tough. There's going to be some challenging times like we faced. We actually got through the snowstorm, so there's plan B, right? C, D, E, all the way to Z.
Yes.
You have another one, or is that the only?
That's the only one I could think of.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Sandra. Thank you everyone that joined us today. Thank you for your time and joining us during this hour. And we will reconnect. Follow Sandra. Like I said, I'll make sure to post all her contact information below. And before I conclude, I always, try to remind everyone to take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And just, with everything going on, maybe call 2 people, just 2 people throughout the week, and just say hello and just check up on them. So I want to conclude with that. And again, thank you, Sandra, and I will see you guys soon.
Thank you guys.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.